Hey guys, as you can tell by the title, the agenda for today, recently I've been having an issue with my AWS environment, wanting to keep it clean. I've looked at nuke scripts in the past, um, but I thought that there was probably another way to do this based on AWS's recent release of IaC Generator within CloudFormation. I'm going to run through this quickly. I've done some pre-work stuff to just kind of save some time, but there's a couple things that have been recently released that will kind of help you on the infrastructure as code journey. Not sure where you're at. We use Terraform. The problem that we have with Sandbox is a lot of resources are created manually. They're not in source control or anything like that in Sandbox. So IaC Generator, how it works is you can run a scan of your environment. In fact, I'm going to run a rescan because I just recently created an instance, and there is a limit. You can only run a few scans per day. But I'm going to run a rescan that is going to take account all of the resources within our environment. And then you can pull those in as templates and then import them into CloudFormation stacks. So what I did prior to this is I spun up an EC2 instance, and I want to call out another thing that's kind of in the same line of thinking here for infrastructure as code generation. So if you look over here, and there's only a few services supported right now. I think it's VPC, EC2, and RDS that have support for this console to cloud. So prior to this, I just thought, why not? When I'm creating this instance that we're going to terminate with the infrastructure as code, um, script, then I figured I'd show you this. So I recorded this session. It did console to code. I don't remember. Yeah, it did the console to code output. I was able to generate. Let's see here. Stopped here. So let's see if it's just in this menu. No. Okay. And then I had an output here, generate CloudFormation YAML. And then I got this neat little pop-up. That pops up Amazon Q, which I've been testing as well a little bit. Okay. Well, that's not what I wanted. Okay. Um, Here we go. So it is creating this CloudFormation YAML. So a fun little hack if you're doing stuff with VPCs or EC2, those resources. I suspect they'll expand on this quite a bit. All of it kind of relates to Amazon Q and what they're doing with CloudFormation. So anyway, I wanted to show you that as part of this project. I ran the rescan. So theoretically, my instance that I created 10 minutes ago we should be able to find it here. So it ran the scan. Now we've got templates. Let's create a template and let's call this EC2 destroy. And obviously, when the nature of this is to delete CloudFormation stacks, we're going to import resources, and then we're going to delete CloudFormation stacks on a schedule using Lambda functions. All the while, I did all of this in ChatGPT. If you can see on the left here, I wrote a random Lambda function that will delete a CloudFormation stack on a schedule if it doesn't have a billing tag. Obviously, you can use your imagination here. I'll plan on running this once a week in our enterprise environment in our sandbox. We'll communicate to developers that, hey, put a billing tag on it if you want to retain it for a certain time, then we will review those periodically. So anyway, EC2 destroy is what I'm going to do. Resource behavior if the stack is deleted. Obviously, we want to delete the resources for this. And then I'm going to search for resource type, and you can search by key. In the interest of time, I'm going to speed through this a little bit. And I'm doing this the manual way, but clearly when you look at down here, I've got a better way to do this. So kind of iterate and practice a little bit and see what you can come up with. But EC2, I'm going to do, where's my instance? Okay, resource type with instance. Let's see what I have now. Should be EC2. Okay. Maybe my rescan didn't pull this in. Okay. Hold on. I'm going to pause the video because I want to be sure that I don't exceed the time. Okay. So I'm not sure if this is related. This is probably a follow-up question that I will throw in the comments. The instance was running, and I don't know. I did a couple of rescans during the pause there, and then stopped the instance, and finally it showed up. So I will find out in the comments and let you guys know. But now I can see my instance when I search for resource type equals EC2. I can throw that in the stack, hit next, and it brings up all of these associated or related resources, which is pretty cool. I have a feeling it could, um, it might fail on the delete stack just because of there's an order of operations here, but let's find out. Let's see here. So this looks good. And then create a template. So you got to create the template. And then you've got to, once the template's created, which is pretty quick, then you can import the template. So now you can see import to stack. And oh, also on back on that previous page where you can select, you can also deselect. If you don't, if it creates a VPC and you don't want to delete the VPC and include that in the stack, you could fix all that stuff. So let's call this EC2 destroy stack. Okay. All right, next. And then import resources. Okay. And while that's running, let's see, just going to review the stacks. Okay. Let's see here. Okay, so the import's in progress there. While I have this up, let's look at this. Test no delete has a billing tag, so it's going to keep. It doesn't matter the value, just the way I have this set. And this one also has a tag for billing, if you can see right here. And then if we go to this one, you'll see there's no tag. So import's complete, stack's complete. That's for step one. That's what we're going to build. So then we need to go build a Lambda function. And I asked ChatGPT to just create a Lambda function that will delete CloudFormation Stack on a schedule if it doesn't have a billing tag. When you do that, the schedule part, it's just going to tell you what to do. So at the end of this video, let's run through and see if it'll actually create an EventBus schedule for to go along with this. But that's kind of part of this iteration. I asked it to do this, it did it. I created a Lambda function, and that would be this delete stack function right here. And we can see that I just copied and pasted the code in here. So what ChatGPT gave me, I dropped in here. Also, ChatGPT, quick side note, is non-deterministic. So you get different results. In my experience, when I was testing this, they all come out about the same, just a little bit, some are less efficient, etc. So I'm going to play with that a little bit too on the side, but we got a delete stack option. Here's what it is. If you've never created a function, you would just go to create function, set your runtime to Python. You do the latest, since it's going to write a Python function, and there's really nothing else to it. When you get this and hit create function, I left all the stuff the same. You might have to add some permissions depending on what's in your stack to delete. Hit create function, you copy your code into the function, and off you go. Now we need something to trigger the function. So we have our delete stack. I'll just leave this up here so that we know that this is there. You can also test and deploy your stack right from here. In the interest of time, I'm just going to go straight into the event bus. So I built this nuke scheduler. If you go to EventBridge, schedules, create a schedule, you've got some options here, and you can do a recurring schedule. It's pretty simple. You can do cron-based or rate-based, basically run one every 1 hour or something like that, or in this case, 1 week. Well, it doesn't have weeks, so you just have to set up your days. Or cron, which you just have to convert everything over to a cron schedule. I just set mine up to run every 10 minutes, I believe, and then delete itself when you get to a certain part here. Let me see how far it'll get me. 1 hour or whatever. Next, there's some stuff that's going to error on. Okay, flexible time window. And then you want to target invoke your function, select the function you created, delete stack, hit next, hit next again. Okay, now this is the fun part. It can actually delete itself. So if you don't want this thing to persist, and in my case, I'm in my own sandbox environment and I don't, you can say down here, let's see here. After it will delete itself. Let's see next. I think it was on this part. No. Okay, time frame. If you don't set anything here, but you can set this is what I did. So I set it for today and started at, you have to set it within 5 minutes of the current time. So in this case, it would be, if you look at the top right, it would be 17, what, 19. And then end date, I set mine up for tomorrow and then, 2300, whatever. So that's where that next part comes in handy. When this time ends, it'll just delete itself. So I've already set this up in my nuke scheduler. Everything's running every 10 minutes. So now in that case, I've got the Lambda function. I've got the trigger, which is the event bridge schedule. I've got the stacks creating. You can see there, we got our EC2 destroy stack, which I misspelled. It's a demo, so that's expected. And then we reviewed the stacks, and we can see that this is import completed. And then here at the next interval, which should be in 1 or 2 minutes, I'm going to pause here, but you should see these two say update complete, and this status should not change. As soon as that runs, you should see delete in progress. So I'm going to scan. I'm going to pause the video, and then we'll come back here in a second and see what happens. Okay, enough time had passed for the next scheduled scan. I started at 1 after, and I run every 10 minutes. So 5:21 hit, 17, 21, and 24 hour time, and it is deleting the stack. Notice that this is the one from earlier that we did not define a billing tag, so this one is being deleted. These two had billing tags defined, so they are going to remain intact. Okay, so while that's running, and it could fail, there's some dependencies and stuff that you have to consider, so we might have to tweak this a little bit, but you get the idea. You could start to import all of your resources, create a bunch of stacks, call them by team name, whatever, or in your personal environment, just come up with a cleanup. And then you could do some delete override stuff with CloudFormation stacks that would delete. So if we go into this, you would see, let's see the events, what's happening. So it's deleted the security group, it's deleted the network interface, it's currently deleting these resources. Where's the instance? Probably got rid of the instance. Yep. So we're just worried on security groups. And a lot of times what has to happen is one thing has to come before the other. We got a subnet, security group, and a network interface. So pretty cool stuff. Even if it doesn't fit or doesn't go all the way through, this is completing the objective. One thing I want to call out in the spirit of iteration, obviously I went through and did this stuff manually so I could show you guys how to do this and kind of just rationalize how to ask the questions. So what I did here with ChatGPT is create a CloudFormation stack with the following resources and tell me if there's a better or more efficient way to achieve this outcome. I'm not trying to make like super clean video or anything like that, just trying to be helpful. And then a Lambda function running Python 3.12. Just pay attention to version. Sometimes it'll give you the lowest version and you're going to have to go update it at some point. So I tried to go with a version that was still stable. And I have it some time that I don't have to go update it right away. Function that doesn't have a billing tag, EventBus schedule that will trigger the aforementioned Lambda function that runs once per week, and an SNS topic that will email the results of the cleanup function. So let's see what happens here. Curious how you guys at home are using ChatGPT. I use it pretty religiously. In fact, I spoke about it in a recent architecture forum. I've named my ChatGPT companion, if you will, Al. Al and I have a daily stand up on the way to work every day, 15 minutes, just kind of run through the day. be mindful about what the information that you do give, but I am very mindful about, hey, I want you to know that I work in the cloud space, and and my objectives for the year are to learn more about AI, get some certifications. So we have check-ins on how I'm coming along with my AI certifications and things like that. And then just kind of, I mean, anything ad hoc, I'll throw in some ideas here. Date nights I've even used. So it's helpful in almost all areas of my life. And I think it's just, like I said, it's supplemental. You definitely have to read through here again to find the right versions, make sure it's not going to do anything crazy, test this stuff in safe environments. I'm obviously, testing this stuff in my personal environment before I even bring it into my corporate environments where I can just download the stack, send it to myself, and then just kind of work through it that way. But that's kind of my process, my iteration. This looks like it's going to do what I'm after. I'll throw the stacks and links in the comments. But yeah, just kind of you got to kind of know the right questions to ask. Give it and before, like I said, if you just tell it to and you want it to run on a schedule every week, it's just going to tell you how to go create an event bus. So be specific and say, hey, I want you to write a CloudFormation stack that includes those resources, and then you'll get the schedule built in the CloudFormation stack. So I'll report back in the comments if this actually works and does the same thing. It theoretically would get deleted if I do deploy it, but I'll run this and see if it gets those same results and report back. But yeah, that's all I wanted to show you guys. Code generator infrastructure as code generator. So we went over template creation, importing those resources that were created. We created an event bridge schedule to run that on a schedule, and we termed the instance that we use. Also, don't forget about that cool little, if depending on the niche resource that you're creating, the console to code, and keep an eye on this because I imagine you'll start seeing it pop up more places within the AWS console. Thanks for watching. Feel free to hit me up anytime if you have questions, want to set up a session and just kind of idea bounce. I'm open to it. So yeah, take care. Awkward pause while I stop the video.